Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to a special edition of Triad Today. Over the next half hour, we'll talk about what students are learning at school and why. We'll see why career and technical education is so important. And we'll tell parents what they need to know about the changes taking place in public schools. But first, we begin with an overview of the state of education in North Carolina with our good friend, State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Dr. June Atkinson. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
I wish it wasn't just once a year. I wish you'd just come down here every week and we could talk about education.
Well, I would like to do that. I travel I-40 a lot going from Raleigh to other
You go
parts
everywhere.
west. Yes,
You're always
I do.
busy, though, and people want to talk to you. Let's talk about something first that's maybe not too pleasant, and it's gotten a lot of parents and teachers and people worried. The General Assembly keeps cutting education budget almost without remorse. Those are my words, not yours. And meanwhile, the schools are saying the cuts are too deep. Now, what's the truth about the budget cuts, number one, and what effect will those cuts have on the quality of instruction? Can you address those two things?
Yes. First of all, I am worried about our teachers in our schools. We now have $326 less per student in our schools than we did have in 2008, 2009. So we continue to take cuts. We know that our teacher salaries are ranked 46th in the nation, and we are worried about not being able to attract and keep teachers in our schools. We know that teachers can go to Tennessee or Virginia or other states and make $10,000 more as a beginning teacher.
And speaking of, not to interrupt you, but speaking of $10,000, that was about the amount of money that had always been available to teachers when they would obtain their master's degree as sort of a bonus. And now that's been stricken, although there's a move afoot to grandfather some of the teachers. But I mean, that plus what you're saying, what message does that send to young teachers that are looking for a job and they want to come to this state or the other?
It sends the wrong message, and I'm optimistic that the General Assembly will change its mind about paying for master's degrees. Any organization that has education at its core should be willing to pay for master's degree teachers.
There are industries out there, you and I can name 50 of them, and if we were pressed to do so, who will pay for continuing education for their folks, their employees, and yet in the education field, we don't want to pay for it.
Right, and we should rejoice when teachers want to learn more so that they can help the 1.5 million children that we have in our schools.
But going back to the other point I wanted to get you to comment on, and that is, what effect, how would it affect the quality of instruction if no changes are made to these cuts?
Well, we will have fewer adults in each of our schools to help guide students, to help teach students, to help assist the students. We will have to scrape the bottom of the barrel to find money to pay for textbooks or digital textbooks, because now we get $15 per student per student, and each student has about 5 to 6 textbooks. That's a 78% reduction from what we have had, and books cost anywhere from $35 to $85 each.
Yeah.
Teachers are having to spend more money out of their pockets to buy materials and supplies, because we went from about $59 per student to about $29 per student for instructional materials and supplies.
Governor McCrory is creating this Education Innovation Fund, which he says would distribute, or as I understand it, would distribute grant monies to schools who improve on student performance. Is he just redirecting the race to the top funds, and is this plan going to work? What do you make of it?
Well, we're in our 4th year of Race to the Top, so the dollars have been obligated for the most part, but the General Assembly did allocate dollars to the Governor's Office for an Innovation Fund, and its purpose is to provide the next level of innovation in our states. And so we're going to work really hard to make sure that that
So you think
works.
that'll be okay?
Yes, I think that will be a good thing, because we always have to be planning for what we need to do next to help all children.
I want to get one more thing in before we take a break. Lieutenant Governor Dan Forrest, who's been on this show, made the comment not long ago that many teachers are not prepared to teach Common Core and students have no accountability. Now that's a pretty broad statement. Number one, what is Common Core if somebody doesn't know? And number two, the big question is he correct?
Well, first of all, the Common Core identifies what students should know and be able to do as a result of being in schools for 13 years. In a nutshell, it means that our students will learn how to add, multiply, subtract, divide, do fractions, percentages, and decimals, understand algebraic concepts, geometric concepts, and statistics. It also requires that our students learn how to read, write, Speak and listen. It's nothing more or nothing less, and we have spent 3 full years helping teachers to be prepared to implement the Common Core, which was adopted in 2010.
So you think they're ready?
Well, with any new standards, we know that there are different levels of readiness, and we will continue to work with teachers to help them.
All right, we're going to continue with Superintendent Atkinson in just a moment. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.